How's it going, everyone? In this video, we're going to be reviewing the new Figma Doomslayer figure, which is amazing. And then also, I'm going to show you how I made this really cool diorama to go with it. The new Figma Doomslayer figure from Good Smile is absolutely amazing. We don't have a lot of Doomslayer figures in general, but this is definitely the best one available. I gotta say, I have been a bit disappointed with the last few Figma figures that I've gotten, but this one does not disappoint at all. Not only does it look exactly like our Doom guy and look beautiful, but the articulation is fantastic, and all of that armor that he's got on there does not hinder the articulation at all. You can get him into some pretty great poses. One of the criticisms I've heard about this figure is that his hands are too small, and I hadn't thought that at all, and I've been playing with this figure for quite a while now. Everything looks to scale to me, it fits with his body and with the weapons quite well. And this didn't happen to me, but I did hear from others that there are some problems with his shoulder rocket snapping off, so just be careful about that. This thing comes with a ton of accessories, including the Crucible sword, some interchangeable wrist blades, the chainsaw, the massive BFG, and of course the classic super shotgun. And he comes with a ton of different interchangeable hands to fit all of the different weapons and accessories exactly how you need it. And if you want to pick up this figure for yourself, head to the description of this video. I have my Entertainment Earth affiliate link for this figure linked right there. This figure is just so dang cool that I really wanted to have an awesome diorama to go with him. So the second half of this video is going to be how I made this diorama for my Doom Slayer figure. Okay, so I'm in my shed and I'm going to start making this Doom diorama, and I have a bunch of really cool random stuff I got from the hardware store, which I don't really know exactly what I'm doing yet, but I think this is going to be really cool. So these right here are actually like paint dripper things, like when you take a roller and try to get excess paint off of. That's what these are. I bought two big ones and then two small ones. These are only like $3 a piece or something, but they're really cool. This is kind of gonna be the main base of it. And I got some of these. I don't really know what this is, but some type of electrical siding or something. So that's just gonna be for some cool pieces here and there, just to kind of give it some, I don't really know. And these I might use for the background somewhat, because they could look like chain link fences if I cut them up a little bit. Just such a really cool random thing from the store. And I got these big screws. I think I'm going to have them coming up from the bottom to look like spikes. You know, Doom is full of all kinds of spikes and stuff like that. And I bought a really cheap piece of wood. This is like cedar or something. This was like $3. I'm going to cut this up in pieces. This is going to be the base underneath as well. I'm going to keep a little bit of space underneath there so I can put lights there, which will help for photos quite a bit. And also cut these up, and for the background I have like some spikes as well. So for most of this stuff, I will be gluing a lot of it together with wood glue, trying to do my best to get enough structural integrity to make this thing sound and stuff. So that will be great. I got just a random chain to put around things. This is going to be really cool. I'm going to take some of this and make almost like a little crucifix in the background with a skeleton on it hanging from there, which I think will be really fun. And so basically, once the main structures and stuff are done, I'm going to be taking some of this modeling foam, which is awesome. This stuff starts out, it's super soft and thin. You squeeze it, and then once you leave it out, it hardens up into this really cool stuff. It's great for customizations. I got this at Michael's. Find this at your local craft store. It's really good stuff, but don't let it touch the air for too long because it'll harden up really quick. And that's basically what I'm going to do with with this diorama, and I just am kind of going with it as I went. And you saw it in the beginning of the video. Hopefully it looked good. So this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to start off with just putting together some of the wood to make the structure, and then putting this together, and then we'll go from there. And the big question is, okay, why the heck are you using wood and metal and all this? Well, first of all, I think that's kind of fun. I just like doing that kind of stuff. It just seems fun. But also what I can do is I don't really have to worry about this thing melting or getting damaged. If I want to use fireworks to shoot with this thing, I can. This diorama with some fireworks or sparks I think will be really cool. So that's why. And yeah, it's just fun. So I'm gonna get started. First thing I'm gonna do is glue the base together, and that'll be that. First, I'm cutting off two 15-inch pieces of wood here so I can glue them together, and that can be the actual base of the diorama. So I'm sanding them off now because this isn't exactly the smoothest wood and I don't want any splinters or anything like that. So after I spread out the wood glue, I actually have to make sure to clamp it together to keep it in place because the wood glue is really strong, but it does take about a whole day to dry completely. So it's really important to clamp it together so it doesn't move at all. Okay, so I've got kind of the basis of the base done, the basic basis of the base ready, and I've made a couple of spikes and stuff to put in the background here, which are going to be kind of like this, which are all going to be painted black, and I'm going to make all like weathered and silvery and stuff. I've got a little cross here for my skeleton crucifix that's going to be in the background, and what I've got right here is another kind of spike thing that's going to go in the background like this, but I'm gonna cut out some of this fencing and kind of put it together like this so the fencing is like a part of it, which I think will be kind of cool. And I'm just really gonna be adding a bunch of random stuff into the background to make it look awesome and Doom-like. So yeah, let's just keep going. So I'm using some wire cutters to manually cut out each little piece of this fencing here so then I can staple it down to the back on these spikes just like this. So I have started to put together some of the little spikes and random stuff in the background, and I've stapled on some of this fancy stuff to some of the pieces that are just going to go back there, and it's all going to turn out awesome in the end. I'm really excited. Okay, so as far as just the wood itself goes, I'm done with gluing wood on, and so I'm going to take the metal off, and I'm going to paint it black. I think black would look really cool. I'm still going to add some other highlights too as well later on once the black is done with, and I'm regretting putting these on already because I don't want to get them painted black. I'm just going to like spray paint the whole thing, so I'm going to cover those up with some kind of tape to prevent them from getting all black, and then I'll paint this whole thing black and then go from there. Spray paint sticks and works quite well with wood, so I only really need to do one coat of black paint on this guy. Okay, so it's looking kind of cool. It's just about done with the initial black paint, and I put all of the metal things on now, and it's getting a little heavy. It's not too bad. So the metal stuff is all just hanging there. I'm going to attach all the metal on now. And I'm gonna actually use some perfectly sized screws to kind of screw everything in. And I know this thing is ridiculous, but it's gonna look cool. Let's screw it all in. The closer I get to finishing this diorama, the more I'm realizing that this is getting pretty sharp and a little bit dangerous. So if you do any of this stuff, just keep that in mind and be careful. Don't cut yourself on any of the screws or anything. So this stuff right here is modeling foam. It's really, really cool stuff. It's used a lot for cosplay and stuff, but it's great for customization and building things. So basically, it's this really soft foam like this that you can kind of mold into whatever you want. And it's very sticky too, so you can stick it to stuff. And then once it dries, it's hard and it sticks and it can work for building stuff. So what I'm pretty much gonna do with this is use this to create little balls of guts and blood, like for Doom, but it's all white. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to dye some of this red so I can mold it in place and have it still be red, so I don't have to deal with painting it while it's in there, you know, after it's dried. So I'm going to mix this around with some food coloring, put it back in here so it still stays moist. That's the key with this stuff. If you keep it out and it gets dry, it's hardened, and if you let this whole thing harden, it's pretty much no good anymore. So you have to make sure it's airtight all the time. So yeah, let's dye this stuff red. Please keep in mind, if you take any of this stuff and dye it another color, you're gonna also end up dyeing your hands a different color. My hands were red for pretty much the rest of the day, so just keep that in mind. So the foam is pretty red, and it's actually worked quite well. I actually ended up mixing in some acrylic paint in as well, and that actually worked better than the food coloring did, and it's still pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some little piles and splatters and stuff throughout this, and I'm also going to add in some little bones and stuff to make it look like just piles of blood and bones, and got these little things. And so I'm just going to put that throughout, and leave it in there. Afterwards, I'm still gonna go through and paint some of this to make it look weathered on everything. So I'm just gonna put some stuff here and see how it looks. This molding foam is so great and versatile and sticky, and it's really, really great for any kind of customization or diorama building. So I really recommend getting this stuff and trying it out. You never know what it'll come in handy for. It's really awesome. Okay, here's how it looks so far, and the colors are so stark, like black, red, white. And I'm gonna do a whole bunch of weathering afterwards. I think that's gonna make it look much better. And I think while this stuff is drying, it's gonna slowly like settle too, which will make it look a little bit more real. And I'm already out. I've already run out of the red because I only did a small amount. So I'm gonna have to make a little bit more and do some more. But so far it looks really cool. There is a ton of open space on this diorama, so I'm really going to have to fill it up quite a bit with this red stuff, and luckily I have plenty of it, and I think it's really starting to fill up quite nicely. It also will really help with holding up this crucifix that I've got here to hold it in place, which is really great. And also, if you're wondering where I'm getting all of these skeletons and bones and stuff that I'm using, these are all just Halloween decorations that you can find at any store, really anywhere, during the Halloween season. So anytime you see something like that looks cool, pick them up at the store. You'll never know when they could come in handy with action figure customization or something like that, you know? Okay, so everything is done as far as just all of the stuff. The foam has dried nicely. It's still kind of soft and squishy, but it's not, it's not going anywhere. Some are harder than others, but it's pretty much all there. I did put my little skeleton crucifix up. So yeah, that's how it's looking at the moment. It looks it looks pretty cool. Looks all right. I'm gonna go through and do some painting and some weathering. So I've just got some basic, hang on, let me turn my little heater off. It's a little cold in here. I've just got some red and some black, and that's pretty much all I'm gonna really use so much for now. Just gonna water it down and just kind of give everything some nice weathered look, I guess. Just put some darker stuff on it. That's all I'm really gonna do. And then I think later on I'm gonna put some highlights of silver on like some of the tips of things, because I've got some of this rub and buff right here, which is good stuff. Yeah, that's great. This is like wax based, and it's really shiny, and you can stick it places. It's really great for making highlights or making things look very shiny. And that's all I'm gonna do. Just gonna go through and take my time and hopefully make it look a little bit less cartoony. So just to prove to you how cold it is in New York, see this cup of water that I have my paintbrush in? Yeah, it's frozen. It's totally frozen. So there's that. So now I'm mixing up some of the black and the red paints to get a little bit of a darker red color, so then this plain red crimson look on the blood already doesn't look so cartoonish and just very plain and bland. And also watering it down is very important too, so you can kind of just dab ahead and get all that color and then just rub it all in with the paintbrush or with a finger, just to get it all weathered and even get some of the darker stuff into the cracks, which will really, really help make it feel realistic. Okay, so I did a lot of just basic painting over the blood, guts and stuff, and it looks so much better just with all the darker, basically just mix the black and red going over everything. Looks so much better. So I'm gonna do a little bit more black, getting more blacks in the details of like the crevices and stuff to try and just make it feel a little bit more real. Adding some black over on everything else too, even the metal and the wood, just to make it feel not so clean and whatever. On the skeletons as well, that will help. This is so much fun. I'm having such a blast doing this, and it's looking really great. So what I really like to do is just take a really heavy amount of the thinned out paint and just put it all over the place, just like a maniac. So then eventually, once it's all covered, the whole thing, you can take a nice rag, wash it off, and wipe off all the excess paint, and then the paint in the crevices and stuff like that will still stick around, and that really helps the weathering look. All right, I think the black and weathering is complete. It's looking pretty good. This is so much fun. I'm really excited for this. All this, the bones and everything. It's very sturdy too, you know. This is a little bit, actually that's gotten pretty sturdy as well. But I'm just super excited for this. Diorama building is so much fun. Plus, but this is a little bit different. I know people don't usually use wood and metal, but I think this is gonna hold up. I'm gonna stick some fireworks back there, blow this stuff up. It's gonna be so cool. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through and put some highlights of this rub and buff, which is just a shiny metal silver, almost a chrome kind of look, and put on some of just like the edges here to make just these feel a little bit more real, I guess. I don't know. So I'm gonna use mostly my fingers for this. I might use a brush as well, and I'll probably use my rag to help with that as well. And yeah, I'm gonna do that. So I'm using my finger to get this silver rub and buff all over the edges and the corners of the wood here, and hopefully that will make the wood kind of look more like they are metal, and the paint is kind of chipping off away at the corners, and that's all the silver coming through, and just really adding some nice little details. I think this is actually really making a huge difference, just a little bit of detailing here. Okay, I think it's all done. I actually went ahead later and did a little like just splatter of like red to get a little blood splatter back there, which I think kind of fits. And the rub and buff along the edges looks kind of cool. And I think it's all set. I'm just gonna give it like a few minutes to dry, and then what I'm gonna do is go over with this matte finish, because a lot of the paint is going to be basically just raw on there. So giving this nice clear coat finish will just finish everything off and make it all just done. I do that with pretty much everything I paint. It's really good. You can use a glossy or a matte or whatever kind of finish you'd like to use. It's really good, especially if you're painting on plastic, and there's a little bit of plastic in here. But that's the final step, I think. And then I can get some shooting done with my figure. And yeah, there are tons of little crevices and stuff in this diorama, so it's really important to lay this matte finish on really thick. So now that the diorama is done, I'm going to do a quick shot with it with some fireworks. And I'm going to do it in my shed, but I'm going to be very careful using some water behind me just in case I need it, but it's too cold outside. I'm staying in here. I really enjoyed myself making this diorama. I had a great time, and I absolutely adore this figure. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know if you think I did a good job or not. I'm actually pretty excited about it. And also let me know if you end up picking up this figure as well. I'd really love to hear what you think. And make sure to use my link that I have in the description of the video if you do end up picking him up. I'd be eternally grateful. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And have a great rest of your day. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.